Hi, I'm Natalie Fund. I'm an integrative wellness coach, and today I want to share with you 8 tips to help you overcome self-doubt. To know how to overcome self-doubt, we need to talk about what self-doubt even is and how does it feel, how does it show up in your life. So number one, what is it? It really is the inner dialogue. That's really all it is, the belief systems attached to the thoughts and the emotions that you're having. So the way that this feels coming out, you might feel anxiety, depression, or emotional lows. It's not always depression clinically for you to have an emotional low. Panic, fear, paralyzation, not being able to take action in your life, not being able to take steps forward in your life, not being able to take steps toward your goal. This can show up as procrastination. If you have perpetual procrastination habits, what you really have is fear. So understanding that angle of where that fear is coming from and why it's stopping you is key. Staying put in your life, staying quiet, not speaking up, not saying what you believe, not saying all the things that make you you. This could be anything from not making the jokes you want to make because of fear of how people will react around you, to not standing up for yourself to a boss that's taking advantage of you, not asking for a raise, not asking your husband or your partner or your wife, you could be a man listening to this too, not saying what you need in the relationship, not saying what you need in the split of chores in the family. There are so many ways that we hold ourselves back, and I want you to know it's normal, but you don't have to live like this. Overcoming it is really key. It's essential to you loving being who you are, loving being in your life, and even loving being in your body. Another way it shows up is doing the least amount of what you need to do to get where you want to go. So like doing a half-assed job, studying for an exam. This could be just a school exam, or it can be like passing the bar exam to become a lawyer, passing any kind of exam. If you're scared about the responsibility of the outcome, that, if you get what you want, there is more responsibility to up level higher and higher and higher. And so you might have fear and you might sabotage yourself. You might feel like you're not good enough to get there. You're not good enough to keep it going. You might have imposter syndrome, feeling like how far you are is already a lie. And that is self-doubt, all right? So if any of these ring true for you, if you can identify with this, or if you can think of other ways that self-doubt shows up in your life, leave it in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. And then we're gonna move into my 8. Oh, I also wanna talk about what it feels like for myself when I'm really struggling with self-doubt. Like, I wanna get to that next level, but I just, I can't get there. And then I have my beliefs, my damaging belief systems, my damaging thoughts, and emotional spiral that comes up. How that feels to me energetically is like all of my essence, all of my spirit, my soul, my passion, my heart is stuck in a shoebox, and I want to get out, but the only way out is that I have a needle, and I have to puncture a hole with the needle, and all this energy that is me and all of my capability is trying to get out of the shoebox through a hole the size of a needle. Can you imagine? It's very frustrating, and I'm way too dense, Even in my ethereal body, there's so much density that it would take forever to fit through there. So you want to get there, and you can't, and so you feel paralyzed. That is the feeling that I have. And again, leave a comment if you can identify with that. So to get to my 8 tips, number 1 is when you're having this self-doubt, pay attention to how it feels in your body, the thoughts that you're having. And I want you to slow down, take a few deep breaths, and think of the first time you can remember having this feeling, this sensation, this thought pattern. All of it, the first time you ever felt like this. See if you can pull up a memory, and if you want, you can press pause and do that right now, but we're not going to do the healing right now, so you don't have to. This is just the how-to. So ultimately, what happened is that there was a wounding. There was a wounding to your heart, and it's so important to go back and remember what it is so you can acknowledge it, and you can bring fresh healing energy and love to that wound. Also, when you had that wound, you had beliefs that formed around this issue, this belief about yourself, this belief about what you're capable of. And so if you can remember it, you can think about what belief was formed. And then you can work on rewriting the belief, which is number 2. Once you've rewritten the belief, it's so much easier to go in and see the thoughts that come down from the belief, the thoughts that you have spiraling in your mind when you're feeling this self-doubt based on this belief. So then you can work on changing your thoughts. And all you do to change your thoughts, it's like a pathway in your mind. And whatever thoughts you're having the most, you create these deeper pathways, essentially, where it's easier for your mind to go that direction because it's a known path. So you create new pathways, and you make those known pathways. The way you do that is every time you catch yourself in the old pathways, you change directions, you fork, you go the other way with your thoughts. And the way you do that is to have a few powerful affirmations that take you in that other direction. And every time you go towards the affirmations, it's a choice and it's a habit, and you can do this. I do teach this in my program. I'm launching a new group program coming up November 16th. Please sign up for my newsletter if you want to know more, or reach out, put a comment below if you want to know more about that. All right, so redirect your thoughts. You really want to be redirecting your thoughts to something that puts you closer towards meeting your goals, gets you on a pathway towards the greater good, being who you want to be in the world. Learn to feel through and listen to and honor your emotions without thinking, without assuming that your emotions dictate your worthiness in any way. There's no way around having emotions, having emotional highs and lows, and having to feel through some stuff that feels like garbage. As a human, we just have to do it. Our emotions give us sensations that help us to get to know ourselves. It's communication from our soul. And oftentimes, it helps you to know which direction to go with some of your choices. But you are not your emotions, and your emotions do not dictate who you are or how worthy you are. So learning to acknowledge them, learning to process them in a healthy way, and even learning to shift out of it once you have processed is super important. Getting into heart care, really heart-centered self-care. So for me, when I'm like really struggling with self-doubt and having this anxiety, this fear, paralyzation come up, there is nothing more powerful than acupuncture. That's just for me. Of course, meditation, affirmations, journaling, getting outside, going for a run, really processing your anxiety. I like to think of it as like deep tissue massage, like when you get all that blood flowing, right? You're moving that energy, that stagnation. You're making it impossible for that stagnation to manifest. So whatever really appeals to you, any kind of self-care, yoga, tai chi, things like that get you cleaning it all out. Allow yourself to feel something different. Bring your affirmations in, bring your new thought processes in, and move on from there. Then practicing powerful body language. So again, coming back to yoga. When I taught yoga, I used to put affirmations in with some of the more powerful, like physically powerful postures, the warriors, chair pose, saying I am powerful, I'm going for a jump, I'm taking a leap, saying I am focused, I am determined, I am love, I am light, really feeding yourself with powerful statements as you're holding a big presence. And vice versa, if that's the right way to say it, if you're someone who's constantly sitting forward like this, really hiding your chest, hiding that you have breasts, if you're hiding this instead of just sitting up straight, or if you're afraid to wear something with cleavage and still stand up straight. You're afraid of what people will think. Sometimes it has to do with actually having breasts, but sometimes it's really energetic, that you're just constantly trying to make yourself small. Again, with dieting, always trying to make yourself smaller. Think about the energy in that. If you've spent a decade or 2 decades or 3 decades trying to make yourself smaller, what does that say about you're honoring the energy of your spirit? You're trying to put yourself in a smaller box constantly rather than just filling up the space that your body is asking you to. So just let that settle in. Again, so powerful postures. Yoga is huge for that, or you can just look up powerful body language on YouTube, and I'm sure that you're going to find something like that. And just put some affirmations with this powerful, dynamic body language and feed yourself with that. Number 7, start as a beginner at something. Yoga is a great example, again, because so many people want to wait to start yoga until they're more flexible. But you guys, that's not how it works. You start yoga and you become more flexible. And when you start as a beginner at something, then you're not going to stay at the same point. I guarantee. So like, for example, you might not want to start yoga because you can't touch your toes. You can barely even get your fingers past your knees towards the floor. But after a month or 3 months or 5 months, you can put your palm on the floor. And how good does that feel to be able to look back on where you've come to where you are now? Maybe you can't do any back bend without pain in your back, but then as months go by, suddenly you find yourself being able to do a wheel pose or being able to do a beautiful dancer pose. It's so empowering. Maybe you can't balance, and then you find yourself in a dancer pose or a warrior 3, saying powerful, vibrant, life-giving things to yourself. It's huge. So when you start as a beginner at something, you allow yourself the ability to transform, and you allow yourself, which number 8, to experience failure, to normalize failure emotionally. Failure is a part of life. We fail time and time again. Just think about a toddler learning to walk or a baby learning to crawl. Failure is part of the deal that we signed up for as humans. So normalizing failure and being able to get right back up and keep going, being able to celebrate being on your mat because you are in a body, because you are a human today, that's huge. It's everything. Normalize your failure. Start as a beginner at something and work your way up to intermediate and expert level, and you will feel so confident, so empowered at what you're capable of. All right, you guys, that is my 8 tips for how to overcome self-doubt. If you appreciated these, please tell me your favorite 1 or 2 or 3 in the comments below. Go ahead and give this video a share if you have friends that could use it. And don't forget to hit subscribe. And I have more videos coming out, at least 1 video every single week, coming out on Sundays or Mondays. I will talk to you guys soon. Can't wait to see you.